This is Micah Thomas Jr., IFBB Pro, and you're listening to the Chemtrails Podcast. People go out and they don't want to learn, they don't understand for themselves, so they get a trainer.
Right.
I look at trainers like teachers. Like you should be better and more knowledgeable when you leave them, right? I mean that's how
Correct.
they are. So if you got somebody that is routinely taking your money and you don't know, you're not growing like with them, like whether it
Yeah.
be knowledge or whatever, you're just giving your money away. It's tough to hold people accountable when you don't understand what it is that they're supposed to be doing. So like I always tell people, I'm like, yeah, it's cool for you to hire a trainer to learn and to understand, but eventually, like that's a lifestyle. So you need to know exactly what you're getting out of it, so you can know what you need to put into it to maintain this. If you're paying somebody $300, $400 a month, I mean, I understand that it's their career, but they should have people coming in based on referrals.
Right.
Like, so my turnaround is like, hey, it's gonna take me 3 months to get you where you need to be, and from there on, like every now and then the goal changes and you can come back. But if this is a lifestyle thing, I should be able to get you where you need to be in a semester if I'm a
Right.
teacher,
Yeah.
Right.
and they should be equipping you with the things that you need.
What up, Chemtrails family? It's your favorite podcast. It's your boy AP. Got my Chemtrailers with me, Trader Dre and Mo Chris.
What's
What up?
good,
What up?
man? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
man, what's good with y'all? It's been a minute since we got on, man. So we gonna pick up where we left off. Today we got a special guest, another special guest, and this guest we have today is very personal to me. He's actually my frat brother. We go way back. He's also light skinned, so it's a lot of competition between the two of us. A lot of competition, man. We
Not
got
no
special
more.
guest today. We got my boy, Mr. Micah Thomas Jr. Say what's up to the Kim Trust family, Micah.
What up, people? What go
Yeah,
down?
man. Yeah, we got like I said, we got a special episode today. It's actually gonna be more focused on health. We haven't done one of those in a while, so we gonna dive right in. What's on your mind? And I'm gonna go ahead and kick that off. So it's been a lot of talk about Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez and what happened and getting shot in the foot and stuff. But the only thing I took out of that story is Tory Lanez is 5'2" and like 110 pounds, dog. It's like,
I'm sorry.
what the hell? What the hell can he do with Megan Thee Stallion, man? That motherfucker like I mean, he damn near
Man,
almost like a little person, pretty much, man. And Megan Thee
man,
Stallion, I mean, I don't even know how tall she is, but she like she pretty big, like five
Yeah.
seven, 5'8". Yeah,
So I wasn't
yeah.
even following that, man. So like, what's the background on that whole
We,
story?
we don't know.
man. Well, so I seen something, and basically, I guess it was saying that Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion was dating, and Tory Lanez started flirting with I think Kylie Jenner, whoever she was with, and I guess
Hmm.
that made her mad, and she like came at him with like a knife or some shit or something. I don't know. She came in with a weapon, and so he I guess was scared because he's so small, so he shot in the foot, I guess.
Man, did I miss something? I thought she was like knocking G Easy or
We
something.
we
She was with
seen this
Tory Lanez.
before in the movie Harlem Nights. So
That's what they took it back to Harlem Nights, huh?
Pretty
right,
much,
right,
pretty much.
right.
But
So
yeah,
it,
that
it was
just I mean, you think about like a lot of celebrities and you see them on TV, so you don't really know how, like they height and weight. But that fucked me up, man. 5'2", bruh.
I
so
never really,
so
I never really understood the whole Tory Lanez thing. Anyway, this dude is
yeah,
like,
the hype behind them.
well, I mean, like he was from Canada or something, but he be like acting like he the hardest thug. It's like,
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
bruh,
They gotta
He,
sell it, you
you
he'll
from
know.
shoot you in your foot. Shit,
yeah.
you thug enough for me. I question this
Oh
thug if he
man.
pull it out and don't use it, but I mean, shit, he still shot in the foot. So hey, you gotta give him some notches on his belt for that, I guess.
So that kind of, I mean, I don't know if you give him notches or you give him like, or he lose points for that because it's like, it's basically like he was so scared that he had a shooter in the foot, like he couldn't protect himself. Like,
she had a knife though.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true too.
She had a knife.
I mean, but even so, man. Well, I don't know.
At that point, do you get a person credit? You're like, hey man, that was pretty smart. You put them down. You kept it below the belt, so now it's not a felony no more.
Exactly.
Wait.
And you were gentleman about it. You know, like you could have shot her in the leg. You shot her in the foot. You know what I'm saying?
You know she dared him. You know she dared him to do it. Shoot me then. You know that's how it went.
I'm gonna shoot your ass. Shoot me then. I shoot you in the foot. Like shit, it's a warning shot.
Oh man, you know what I got? I got something. Man, Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. is set to fight in September.
Yeah,
So
that's a good one. That's a good one. It won't be a good
20
one.
Years.
No, it ain't. That ain't gonna be a good one.
It's 20 years too late. That fight, if ever those two was gonna battle it out, that should have been done by the year 2000. Maybe by the year 2005.
It was gonna end the same way though.
Man, but Roy Jones was my favorite boxer at one point in time. But ever since he got knocked down, he ain't never been back since then.
But
he
ain't been the same. Yeah.
I mean, I still respect him as a fighter, but it's that chin. You got to have a chin for Mike.
And Mike Tyson ferocious, bro. It's not even going. I don't even think it's going to be even close.
Roy got a chin though. He started moving up, man. That was his problem. He started moving up.
Yeah, he's trying to gain weight.
And that's my thing. Like, and I'm gonna speak to this because I think I've watched almost every fight from both of the fighters.
Right.
Roy moved up, and the power was different. Yeah. And that's what happened. The weight behind those punches, the power was different. And something Roy had never had before in his career, he had it towards the end of his career, and that was fear.
Yeah.
Because he knew at that level, at that weight, they could hurt him. But cats that was usually fighting at his weight, they wasn't really hurting him. And he ain't had no fear.
But I mean, was it more so he started moving up towards, you'll say the tail end, when he was out of his prime, and he wasn't, he's gaining that weight. You're not as quick, as you are in those other classes when you start gaining that weight. And he had a little bit more power, but he was never really like a powerful puncher. He was super quick.
Yeah.
He was super quick. So you start moving up, and people can start cornering you, like Mike is gonna do. Mike is gonna make him fight. He gonna walk him down, march him down, and he gonna start hitting him.
Your
quickness ain't getting out of that. Your quickness ain't getting out of that. So I don't know if he was fearful or where his skill set was, where his talent was.
Yeah,
it just wasn't reign in heavyweight, like in super heavyweight. So I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be a good fight though. I think Mike is gonna walk him down.
Either.
You know what Mike say? Mike say everybody got a plan until they get hit. So it'll be a good fight.
I don't think it's gonna be close, bro. It's just Mike is too intense. That motherfucker, and like seeing him train with his trainer tell him to heal and shit. Like that's not good. Like he tell him like a dog. He like heal. Like,
have y'all seen the videos of Mike training some other fighters, showing them some moves, showing them how he sidestep and stuff like that? That boy he can still move. He got to be up there in his 50s at this point too. So
he 51, right? And Roy Jones is 50. Is that what it is? Like
they just a year apart. Yeah. So
you couldn't pay me to take no hit at that age.
If Roy make it past the 4th round, man, he might have a chance. So he's got to run.
I think supposedly one of the stipulations is they ain't really not trying to like no knockouts, because it's like charity or whatever.
Come on, man.
But even Mike Tyson said that he probably,
You telling a pit bull not to bite you.
Exactly.
He only know one way.
Yeah. Hey, Michael pretend to go along until he get that first shot. Then he like, oh, are we on? We on?
Yeah, man. I appreciate y'all, man. We're gonna close that. That was what's on your mind. We're gonna jump right into the takeoff.
want to be part of the Chemtrails family, join the group. You can find us on Facebook and ask for access to our group. You'll be one of the first to know of everything chemtrails.
All right, welcome back, Chemtrails family. Like I said, we got a special guest in the building, Mr. Micah Thomas Jr. And before I ask him the first question, I'm gonna give y'all a little background about the history and why we chose to choose this guest on our podcast. So, like I said, me and Mike could go way back. I met him at PV. He's a grade above me, and he was in an engineering organization called Epsilon Gamma Order Incorporated. I remember the first time I met him, I was like, man, what's this light skinned dude, man? This motherfucker think he the shit. He give us a bad name. Because he was cocky, man. I was like, I'm like, man, this dude giving us a bad name, man.
Mike
Yeah.
Lowry.
But once I really got to know him, I saw that he was real cool, very intelligent, man. I was actually shocked. Like, Micah is probably the only person I know that could be drunk and pass a hard ass test and probably not even study. That's how smart that dude is, man. But man, like I said, Micah, very intelligent, a hell of an athlete. He actually got a scholarship to PV playing golf. So that kind of threw me. I was shocked to hear that. I was like, damn, I know you can get golf scholarships to HBCU. So but not only could he play golf, he could play football, he played basketball, he could do it all. And so, like I said, I've been keeping in touch with Michael for a while now, and I've noticed that he's started to take weightlifting very serious. So serious that he actually got recognized in the IFBB, which is the International Federation of Bodybuilding, and he's won several awards. And like I said, you guys know me, and I'm real big on health, so I figured that I actually had a couple of friends actually some guys are trying to get cut, and some guys are trying to get big, and I figured what better way than to bring Mike on there so he can actually drop some knowledge and kind of help these guys, get to achieve the goals that they're looking for. So on that note, Mike, you got anything you want to add?
No, I think you did a good job, man. I'm glad you didn't tell him that I was your hero. You should have.
Nah,
Oh shit.
nah, definitely not that.
Oh shit.
role model, hero, whatever aspired to be. But no, I think you captured it pretty well. Played sports all my life, and it's probably I guess transitions into the how I became, or why I decided to start pursuing bodybuilding in the first place. Playing sports all my life, and once you start getting older, that body starts breaking down, and you got to find something else to kind of drive that competitive spirit. And bodybuilding was it for me. We worked out before, and it was a little bit
Right.
different.
Yep.
It was a little bit different then,
Yeah, it was. Yep.
And I recognize, early that the working out that we was doing is totally different than when you're actually trying to sculpt a
Right.
body build. So yeah, that's a little bit of the background. So
Can I ask what, like, as far as learning what to do as far as those differences between sculpting, bulking, cutting, all that stuff, how'd you get that knowledge? Did you have like a mentor or something to kind of walk you through it, or was this all
um,
self-taught?
a little bit of both. So initially, when I started off, like I did my first competition, it wasn't even in the league that I could compete in now. It was in Muscle Mania, and one of my friends actually competed, and he was trying to get his pro card in that league. Initially, it started off as just a goal for me. It was like, oh, this is something. Well, first off, all I knew about bodybuilding was they walked around in the little draws,
Yeah.
initially.
Yeah.
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 And I was like,
Yeah.
and so when people would come up around the time of like 2015 or 2014, 2015, I didn't even know there was the category that I compete in now, which is board shorts, or even, that's physique or classic physique, which is a step down from the open bodybuilding with the draws, and they wear kind of like the boxer briefs. So people just come and be like, you should do a show. I'm like, nah, that's not in my things to do. I'm not walking around parading around in underwear. Although I respect them,
Right.
now
Right.
I've grown to respect them a lot more. I was like, nah, that's not my thing. But like as I kind of understood a little bit more about the organization, I was like, okay, yeah, this is something that I could do or see myself doing. And then it just became a challenge. Like, at the time I was hooping all the time, body started breaking down. So it's like, let me find something else, another way to kind of push myself competitively, something that I can do outside of work that reinforces or reinstills that healthy lifestyle or whatever. And that's when I just took on bodybuilding. But yeah, guy's name was Aaron, and he kind of helped me through my first show. But a lot of it was just like research, research, YouTube, just looking up,
Right.
the basic principles and just the foundation of building muscle. And a lot of people don't go into that detail, but I mean, I think it simplifies it. Like even though it may overcomplicate it initially, like once you understand like what it actually takes, how muscle is formed, it simplifies it. And so now you can make sure,
Yeah.
like, you see people going to the gym and they spending like 2 and 3 hours working out. You
Mm-hmm.
don't need 2 or 3 hours to, make
Nah.
changes. You only need 45 minutes to an hour to really push yourself, especially if you're not competing. So I guess to answer the question, even though that was kind of long winded, most of it was, I had someone that I could ask questions, but, my own, I guess the fact that I was just intrigued by it and wanted to be good or great in it, or just had a passion for learning and understanding it, I just started. I still research today, like research. What's the most efficient, effective way to accomplish my goals? So
Okay, cool. It wasn't Aaron Hall, was it?
no, I'm not.
That's a
No, no,
joke.
no. There's a
He
No,
made a
it,
jokey joke.
no,
that
no.
was a
There's
good
a
one.
bodybuilder named Aaron Hall. I know that I know of. That's
Yeah,
in
nah,
is.
nah.
And I was like,
It,
was he going with somebody? I think this dude, because I remember seeing him. He was he did like was it a 500 something natural squat or something like that, and I remember he was in some competition. But I just thought he might have been like one of those champions too that might have meant.
nah, nah. See, around that time, I was going to 24. I mean, 24 was the gym for everybody, right? Open
Okay.
24 hours a day. And I was still doing the football workouts. And he would walk in and work out. We work out together. And like he probably had a more complete physique at the time than I did because he was bodybuilding. He's still doing the football workouts. You put as much as you can bench on the barbell and you try to crank them things out. That's it. You're doing all kind of compound lifts except for squats. Like
Mm-hmm.
everything is upper body, and you're not really building. You're not building muscle. You just staying strong, kind of in your realm that you're in right there. But I started working out with him, and then learning more about what and his name is Aaron. So if you look on IG, let's just give him a shout out because he's a trainer as well. Arrow Perfect. I mean, he's solid. He's knowledgeable. He's one of the very few people that I can give the notch on. Like, yeah, they know what they're talking about, and they're not just trying to make money off people. If any of your listeners are looking to get their goals in order, that's a good resource or somebody they can look for. Like even on this page.
So I'm glad, Mike, you brought up the money aspect because my next question actually ties into that. So I mean to be a professional bodybuilder, I know it got to be expensive because you're on a strict diet. You only can eat certain things. You know what I'm saying? And that's expensive. You can't eat like cheap stuff and go to cheap places and eat junk. So my question is there a benefit in being a professional bodybuilder? Like, I mean, do you get like a cash or like sponsors or something for doing that? And like, first, second, third place, is that like a cash prize or is just like an accolade or like a notch on the belt or something like that?
It's a little bit of both, right? I mean, there's prestige in competing professionally and winning. Placing top 10, top 15 within the division that I compete. So that's men's physique. It isn't as big as open bodybuilding. Like open bodybuilding, that's the grandfather, right? So, I mean, to answer your question, like, so places first through third will almost always get some type of monetary award,
Okay.
right? And then some competitions go first through fifth. Now, when you start looking at the purses, when you look at bodybuilding as compared to men's physique or damn, I can't even
You
think of
you
the
said open bodybuilding?
yeah, open bodybuilding, classic physique, and men's physique. Like the purse is a little bit different. Like
Okay.
open bodybuilding is the grandfather of it. So
So
if
it's
you
gonna
look
be
at
the
the
most.
yeah, so if you look at
Okay.
say the Olympia, right? So
Yeah.
if you win the Olympia, which is the Super Bowl of for IFBB professionals, by open bodybuilder winning that gets half a million. You
Damn.
know,
Mm.
yeah, 400 to 500K. Whereas someone in classic physique or in men's physique only get around 35 to 40K for first place,
Damn.
Dang.
right? But
Yeah,
we
that
also
don't that don't really look too promising if you like just only in the
Right.
top 10.
yeah,
You're not
Right.
really gonna get
exactly.
nothing.
Unless you're a bodybuilder, right? Because first through 10, you still bringing home six figures. Actually, I'll say if there's 25 open bodybuilders in the Olympia, they'll all make more than first place in classic or men's physique. And,
Oh man.
a lot of that is because I mean, one, like I said, it's the grandfather of all, and then it just costs so much for them for whatever reason. And then we have the
Yeah.
benefit of being able to compete throughout the year. We're not as big, so we're not stressing our bodies out as much as they are. So we may have 50 competitions. Nobody's gonna compete in all 50, but you got more opportunities to increase
Hmm.
that yearly
Right.
purse than they do. But I mean, even beyond that, like you see when it comes to like sponsorships and stuff, you see people that don't even compete have sponsorships.
Yeah.
So it's not even about I mean, being successful is going to bring sponsorships in, but also knowing how to market yourself, having followers or whatever, is going to get you some sponsorships as well, and just having something to offer because it's all advertisement. Like
Right.
I got an IG. I have someone that I have a discount code for that can meal prep for me. Like if I wanted to, and if I wanted to push it like I wanted to, could probably get free meals, but I'm just not at the social media like
Hmm.
that. But a lot of the
Hmm.
ones that commit to doing this, like the bodybuilding or whatever, full time, like that's what they do, and that's how you offset that cost of supplements and food, nutrition
Hmm.
by doing that. Me, I enjoy doing it, but I don't enjoy doing it enough to where I'm gonna put so much into it that I have to sacrifice other things. Like right now, it fits in the silo of where I placed it, and I still got time for work,
Right.
family,
Family.
etc. And
Right.
I think if I had to put more time into that, I'd have to take away from something else. So
Right.
until I can replace this income,
I got you.
with
Right.
that income, then
Right.
it's just gonna be one of those things that yeah, I'm gonna pursue and love to do, but I just can't devote at least on the scale of like trying to obtain something, sponsorship or monetary benefit, outside of winning. I'm not gonna devote a lot of time to that. That's just too much.
Right.
Right. Hey, Chemtrail listeners, if you out there and you're making a positive impact in your community, well, we would love to showcase your work. Just email us at chemtrailspodcast@gmail.com. Hey, so I wanted to ask, man, who's your favorite bodybuilder? Like, who's the ones you look at? Like, I'm a fan of Ronnie Coleman. I mean, but he has that story. He has a quite interesting story about you know how huge he was, and then you
Yep.
look at him now, all broken down and stuff. So, man, I mean, what's your favorite bodybuilder? And maybe you can probably expand about. how you doing, like, so you won't end up like Ronnie Coleman?
Well, I mean, Ronnie is my favorite, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah, he right. Yeah,
anybody that I think understands the balls the balls all out approach,
yeah,
can understand and appreciate Ronnie Coleman, right? Like
right,
playing sports and stuff, there was no reserve. It was like, hey, balls to the wall, like you going all out. And bodybuilding is a sport too, and that's how he trained. I can't say it was the smartest training style, but it was what he knew. And if you ask him, like you see how the interviews, he like, I wouldn't take anything back from what I did. It got me
yeah,
this many Olympia titles. He's a millionaire, got his own company. He's still lifting today and can't even walk.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
mean, that was his passion. You got football players that broken down. Earl Campbell, that was
yeah,
it. That Bo Jackson, that was their passion, and that's the risk that you take. So for me, right now, it's my passion. I try to be a lot smarter with it, and that's in a lot of like techniques and how you do things, and that'll limit like how strong you actually get, over time
right,
because you're not doing it sloppy. But I mean, you see my videos, man. Like the goal for me is to not only look like a bodybuilder, but work out like a bodybuilder, a strong, bodybuilder as well, and don't limit myself. So I have goals of benching over 500, squatting 650, deadlifting over 600. I'm close now.
Damn.
But I mean, I'm close. I'm close now. I'm close now. But like that was always my goal. Like that's my dad. My dad didn't do it like that. But shoot, my dad, got up to where he was repping 400, like I'm doing now. So it was always cool to be strong. So and that's why I started enjoying working out anyway. So I'm not gonna sacrifice that. I'm gonna do them both. And Ronnie was just I won't be as strong as Ronnie. I don't even want to be as strong as Ronnie was. And
yeah. He was,
he could have dialed some of that back, like especially as he got older. I can't say it was the young Ronnie Coleman that is why he's in his current condition. I think it
right,
was trying to do the same things at like 45 or 40,
right.
late 40s, mid to late 40s, why he's in his current condition. So eventually, when your body's not recovering like it is, and you reach this point of, I'm not really gonna put on any more muscle. I'm just trying to maintain. You got to be smart about how you start doing things. Doing
Yeah,
things.
Yeah.
he
And he just
kept
kept pushing
training.
it.
Yeah,
He kept
yeah.
pushing that. Imagine if he not pushing it like that now,
Hmm.
because he can't. So now he's just lifting to kind of be active,
Right.
and to main
Stay in
and
shape.
to maintain. Yeah. So if you take that
Right.
approach, but that was all he knew, and that's a lot of
Right.
us. Like if it's what we know and it makes us successful, that's what we're gonna do. So yeah, I mean, I can't say I'm gonna get like Ronnie, but when it comes to like pushing myself and trying to get as strong as I can and still be healthy and safe about it, yeah, I'm gonna push it. Like I said, I got 445 in the bench earlier this year. I'm gonna try
Mm.
to push that to 500 in the next couple years. So yeah, I mean, ain't no point in doing it if you're not gonna be elite. Point is to do things that people can't do.
Right.
So
Said, I'm
push them
smiling
goals.
because he said the next couple of years, knowing that you're gonna try to push that out in the next couple of months. So
Nah. I mean, so you gotta think. So shoot, I was struggling, and I mean, a lot of it was mental. 405
yeah.
last year in like the May June time frame, and I finally got over the hump in like September, and I got it once. By February of this year, I stopped at 445. Like that was my max, and I kind of felt tweaked something in
Yeah.
my
Yep.
chest, and so
Yep.
I was
Yep.
like,
Yep.
well, that's all I need. Let me just. It's the most I've ever done, so I'm good. Like I just chill right there. I mean, a couple weeks ago, I got 405, like 4 or 5 times. So you can do it, but you're not gonna progress. You're not gonna
Hmm.
progress that much. Like I'm not gonna put 50 pounds on my bench unless I'm pushing some jet fuel, that's going
Right.
Yeah.
that's gonna get me there. So you're not gonna achieve that. But I could put on like 10, 15, 20 if you just, truly devoted. So I mean, I'm thinking about 2.5, 3 years, if I'm pushing it like I am now, I'll be able to get there, but I'm not gonna risk injury. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm only 230, man. I look like putting 500 on the bar right now.
So what you kind of described was a little bit of like that thing a lot of people don't seem like they really understand when it comes to weightlifting, and that's when you kind of hit that plateau initially, and then and your gains start to decrease in terms of the gap between what your new maxes are. Like it seemed like used to be like if you guess when you were an intermediate lifter, you might jump up and throw 15, 20 pounds up, and your max goes up 15, 20 pounds every time you go through a couple of routines. But when you start getting kind of advanced in there, it takes you a longer time to get those, to see big gains.
Yeah.
And it takes that time for you to like slowly work that up. And like, what is that process for you like?
I mean, in all honesty, 98% of the people are intermediate lifters. You know, like it takes a lot. Like when you reach the we call expert or experienced lifter, like I mean they've truly maxed out their potential and their gains. Like they have to do everything has to align right for them to gain a little. Like intermediate wise, everything doesn't have to align. Like you don't have to do everything perfect, and you can make some pretty significant gains. As a beginner, all you gotta do is touch a weight. You gonna,
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and
You
you're gonna get
breathe on
stronger. Yeah,
it.
because your body is gonna adapt and it's gonna respond. You know, a lot of intermediate people think that they're experts, but a lot of it is just not paying attention and dialing into like what you're doing and tracking your progression. Like I mean, all of it is kind of it's goal oriented, right? So I mean, it's no different than school syllabi or whatever. Like you outline a goal and then you figure out a natural progression of reaching that goal. Most people just go into it kind of with blind faith, like okay, I'll add a couple pounds here, add a couple pounds here, add a couple pounds here. Truth be told, in 2 weeks, if your max is going up 20 pounds, chances are 3 weeks ago that wasn't your max. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
that wasn't your max. I mean, I tell people, I'm like, look, no, you gotta if this is your goal, you gotta map out and strategize and even do like some research on some programs or whatever, so you can achieve that goal. But a lot of people just walk blind. Like they'll say this is my goal, this is what I'm trying to achieve, and they don't map out and strategize how they're gonna get there. Like building muscle and growing strength isn't any different than going from point A to point B. If you're talking about traveling, going down
Mhm.
the street or whatever, like you gotta have a start the car, get in the car, make a right, go straight, whatever.
Right.
So you gotta know everything that goes into it. And then you can start talking about like I'm stalled out. A lot of people don't even understand that you're really not stalled out. You're not at a you're not really at a plateau. You just
Yeah.
gotta tweak this. Like tweak one thing, like get your nutrition in order, like increase your protein, instead of working in this rep range, switch to this rep range, increase the weight or whatever, so your body can adapt. But those are the things that you gotta, if you serious about doing it, you gotta get on the computer, research some things, and then it'll all make sense, and you can bring it all together. So
Mm.
yeah,
I
I don't know if that
appreciate you, bro.
answered the question or
Nah,
not.
you answered it.
No,
Nah,
you
yeah,
answered
you
it,
did.
and you just gave
Yeah,
a segue. So
yeah,
that's
yeah,
perfect.
yeah.
Take it away,
I
host.
appreciate that. Yeah, man. So we gonna jump into the cruising altitude. Like I said, I appreciate y'all for rocking with us tonight.
That's what Mike, boy. Michael Larry. Michael
we
Larry.
we keeping this organic, man. So
Yeah, I was about to type that in there. Matter of fact, that's what I should play. I'm gonna play Mac Larry. That's
we
what,
about to play Bad Boys, huh? All
yeah,
right.
God
play
damn.
Mac Larry. I was trying to
Uh,
think of what to play, and I was like, oh, Michael Larry.
that should do it.
All right, so this is what we gonna do. All right, first, To catch exclusive content from this episode or any of our previous episodes, subscribe to our Patreon at Chemtrails Podcast.
All right, Chemtrails family, welcome back. We're going to hop into the cruising altitude. Like I said, we got a special guest in the building, Mr. Micah Thomas Jr. Man, make sure y'all follow that dude, man. He drops a lot of knowledge, drops a lot of gems. You can learn a lot from this guy, especially when you're trying to gain. So, like I said, man, just check him out. Like I said, we in a cruising altitude, and I'm going to kick it off again. The first question I have, so, like, let's say that I wanted to let's say I wanted to get 20 pounds of more muscle mass, but so my diet, for my listeners, they kind of already know how my diet is. I'm like a hybrid, so I'm like a vegan slash vegetarian slash pescatarian. It just depends on the day and my mood, which one I'm gonna be. And so, like I said, I felt like I was the strongest when I used to eat meat, and I lost a lot of weight. And then like it's kind of hard trying to get all that protein and stuff like that. So my question for you and for the people out there that's trying to gain muscle mass or try to get lean is, how do you change your diet to correlate with the body you want? How do you do that?
Okay, I mean, well, I guess first off, I've been a pescatarian for 12 years.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm not eating. It's a lot tougher to do when you're not eating chicken, you're not
Right.
eating beef, red meat or whatever. But it's achievable. I think once you start taking out the complete proteins, like meat proteins, and you start going into the vegan and vegetarian diets, it's even tougher. And one of the issues is that you're not eating complete proteins, whereas meat sources are complete proteins. That's everything that you need on the amino scale to build muscle. So when you go to vegan and vegetarian, you have to eat more of those products in order to complete
Right.
that, to get a more complete source, or to even have the same effect that you would have when you're eating a meat-based diet.
Right.
One of the issues is that when you do eat that much more, because everything is plant-based, you're talking about carbs, right?
Yep.
So you eat more protein, you eat more carbs. Well, I mean, the issue with that is you're gonna gain more weight too.
Yep.
And it may not be good weight. It could be good weight, but chances are it's not gonna be the best weight. And that's why you hear people say, well, how do you still have people that are obese that are on vegan and vegetarian diets? Is because they're still eating carbs. They're still and overeating carbs. It's not the source of the food, it's how much of the food that you're eating based upon your lifestyle. So I mean, it's ways of cleaning that up. You got vegan protein powders that are essentially all protein based and no carbs. And that may be what you need to do in order to get the amount of protein that you need.
Right.
Supplement that with amino acids or whatever, just so you can get the amount of protein that you need. That I do 1 to 1.5 pounds my weight, so I'm eating 230 plus grams of protein. If you were doing that and I can do that 230 with no carbs,
Right.
right? That's
Right.
straight meat protein.
Right.
If you were to do that, you're gonna eat 230 grams of protein. That's gonna come with 230 grams or 300 grams of carbs,
Right.
if not more. If you need more than that, that's a good balance, right? So if we're talking about like just your protein to carb ratio, that based upon your activity level, that 230 protein to 450 grams of carb isn't bad if you're active, working out 5-6 times a week or whatever.
Right.
But as a vegan and vegetarian, you're gonna need more, right? So now you need to introduce those protein substitutes, protein powders or whatever, so you can
Right.
get that number up to maybe 300, 350, and it's all protein, right?
Right.
Issue with that is it's still calories. so
Yeah.
Yeah, aren't you
so
taking
now,
in sugars with those protein powders and stuff like
but
that?
well, you can get some that are low carb, and that's what I would mostly recommend. So you can put your own fruit or whatever you want to put into it, because it's a lot more, I guess, satiating at that point, as opposed to just drinking a Kool-Aid type protein
Right.
powder.
Right.
You know, so
Yeah.
if you chopping up your own strawberries, bananas, kale, whatever you make, you're gonna enjoy it a lot more, and it's gonna be a lot more fulfilling. Like I said, when you start introducing those protein substitutes, complements, rather, now you may exceed your caloric intake needs to
Mm-hmm.
where you can still potentially start gaining more fat than you want to. So you got to try to dial back carbs, your fats, or whatever else. So I mean, it's real specific to your goal, like your goal weight. Like I mean, I tell people like if you want to gain more, eat more. And that's such a simple, like a simple answer, right?
Right.
You want to gain more muscle, eat more protein, eat more protein. 1 to 1.5 grams times whatever your weight is. I mean that's kind of the general rule. Carbs, kind of the same thing, but that doesn't take account of the different types of diets. Like a meat diet, that's fine. That's typical, and you can work from there. Vegan, vegetarian, you can start there, and if you're still dropping and not progressing like you want to, you can start tinkering around with the numbers. Like, okay, well, if I'm not growing like I want to, my muscle mass is increasing like I want to, all right, let me bump my protein up 10% and see where I end with that. You assess that for 2 weeks to a month or whatever. And if you still dropping, then you need to go up. But there isn't like just one answer like eat more, do this, do that.
Right.
Like
Right.
like I said, with any goal, you got to track progression to it so you can know what changes to make. And if you're not
Right.
tracking if you're serious about it, like if you're serious about it, you're gonna need to track your progression so you know what changes to make. And that's how you're gonna actually know, like, okay, well, shit, I need to increase my protein, blah blah blah, and that'll get me here. And it works both ways because now when you want to decrease, you want to cut, you know exactly what you need to cut and how to cut,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so the same principles in gaining are the same principles in losing and cutting down, because once you find your protein marker, that's gonna stay the same for the most part, because you're always at 1 to 1.5 times, right? You're not gonna, you're not gonna gain. Talk about one to 1.5. I'm 100 pounds. That's 100 grams of protein or 150. You're not losing 50 pounds. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
your protein markers are pretty much gonna stay the same. So
Right.
when you talk about like losing and gaining weight, that's mostly like your carbs. Like you start tinkering with your carbs. You want to gain a little bit more, you increase your carbs. And
Oh.
maybe increase your protein and fats a little bit, but it's mostly
Right.
carbs. You want to start cutting. You start tailoring down your carbs because that's your energy source. That's the tough fat. Like
Right.
once you exhaust all of that, then you start cutting down and cutting into your fat stores. So
Right. Right.
I
Right.
mean, like I said, the same principles are going up or the same principles you use going down. It's just applying the numbers a little bit different, applying the equation a little bit different.
I think you just dropped a gem on a cool without you even knowing that. I think you just
I
dropped
mean,
a gem.
I probably dropped a couple.
No, you dropped about one. You did about one.
Fair
So
enough. Fair
One
enough.
for sure.
so yeah, when you talking about like these different levels and these tweaks and stuff like that, you mentioned in the last segment that's a part of actually making gains in terms of what your actual weightlifting is, not just managing like your weight for your body, but also kind of helping tweak what you can do from your actual output in terms of your lifts.
Yep.
Like it's kind of hard to understand how that translates, to be honest with you.
What do you mean?
Like, all right, so when let's say when you taking in more carbs,
Hmm.
what does that actually translate to in terms of your physical output? Like carbs, protein, like what's
Okay,
actually giving you the muscle? I
I
guess is
got you. I
really
mean,
what
so
you get what I mean?
yeah. So I mean, so fundamentally, what builds muscle is amino acids and protein, right? So you need enough protein in order to build and sustain muscle. The carbs are we'll say the buffer, right? So you eat enough carbs to where now when you're working out, you're not burning or sacrificing muscle. When you see people start dieting down, you diet down, you cut the carbs, you start exhausting your glycogen stores, which is your energy source or your stored energy source. Once you start exhausting your stored energy source, you get into your reserves, right? Well, your reserves are either fat or muscle, because muscle can be used as energy, right? Well, certain activities, say like bodybuilding, uses carbs as the primary energy source of contraction, muscle contraction. Well, once you take that out, you're gonna start
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna start cutting into muscle, right?
Oh, so you
Because
could end
fat,
up losing strength.
so
Okay.
you can lose muscle. So carbs give you that buffer. So that's why you see like a lot of off-season bodybuilders, they gain a lot of weight, start reintroducing carbs to protect muscle. When they start dieting down, they don't want to diet down too fast because they don't want to start burning into the muscle, right? And their training, cardio, and certain things are, adapted so they won't burn into that muscle. So you got to look at carbs as the buffer. Like if you're trying to keep muscle, grow muscle, then you're gonna introduce enough carbs to where you can provide an energy source for your workouts, and then a buffer for your muscles so you won't burn into your muscles. When you talk about cutting, you want to start reducing that number so you exhaust like your stored muscles for your energy, store energy for your muscles, right? That's glycogen. You want to exhaust that, and then you start tapping into, and you want to give yourself just enough. So once you start tapping into that and you exhaust that, you give yourself just enough to where you're not sacrificing muscle, but you still getting through your workouts. But then you don't have anything that's stored. So now when you're doing, steady state cardio or whatever, you burning fat. And that's why you see, like, I mean, if you look at any program for any, bodybuilder, when they go into like competition phase, they drop them carbs like that. Like
Mm-hmm.
they don't have anything. They almost, I forgot what it, drop the carbs below 100 grams, and they burning on fumes, but they have enough to get through a workout or what you need, because you don't need that much to get through a workout, honestly. So I mean that's the fine line and the balance that you want to find. And like I said, I mean it's the same principles going up as it
And
is
then
going
going
down.
down.
Yeah. So I mean if you want to add weight, you want to protect your muscle, then increase. If you want to keep your weight, keep your muscle mass the same, and you want to start decreasing fat, then you start slowly tapering down those carbs because you start exhausting that energy source, and then you get into your energy reserves, which is your fat storage.
I got a
If
question, man. I kind of want to change directions real quick.
huh?
So, well, it's still about bodybuilding though. So, bodybuilding, right?
uh,
How does that affect your libido?
U.S.
Because I'm asking for the minds of people, because everybody they think about bodybuilders like, yeah, they got all that muscle, but they ain't doing nothing with it. You know what I'm saying? So
what you, what
I
you,
was
what you
just,
mean doing anything? I mean, so you look at I mean, I'll take it away from bodybuilding and just look at fitness in general. Like
yeah,
the better cardiovascular health, better better your body composition is. Typically, the better your libido is, performance, stamina, whatever. So I
right.
would say that, I mean, while there's not a direct correlation between bodybuilding and libido, I was I would say that like the healthier you are, that's like body composition, cardiovascular health, whatever, just a healthier lifestyle will yield better sexual,
Yeah.
your overall sexual health
Right.
will be
Now,
will be healthy as well.
can you get cardio from straight bodybuilding? Like,
Um,
or you still got to run on the treadmill?
I wouldn't consider. I mean, there is some cardio benefit from lifting weights, no doubt,
Right.
but I wouldn't use that as cardiovascular. I mean, because you look at a set. A set is what a good set will last 30 seconds to a to a
Yeah.
minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, cardiovascular is more a
A
lengthier.
constant. Yeah.
Yeah, well, a lengthier process. I mean, this
Yeah.
is just, yeah, this is strictly to test and tap into your muscular fatigue, not your heart. When you look at running, actual cardio activities, that's working your heart muscle. Like, I mean, your heart is pumping blood to each muscle, but
Right.
I mean that's not really a testament to your actual heart health, cardiovascular health. So I mean, I think some aspect of it is cardiovascular, but I wouldn't consider that a cardiovascular activity.
Gotcha.
All right, my brother. Last question before we jump into the landing. It's a quick question. I just want to get your take on it. Intermittent fasting, yay or nay?
I think there's some benefits to it. I think there's some benefits to it. I mean, there, I'll say everything can make sense depending on the goal. Like keto makes sense depending on your goal. Intermittent fasting makes sense depending on your goal. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
that
Throughout
makes
the like,
sense.
yeah, I mean, as long as if you have a goal to like increase muscle mass, you can do intermittent fasting, but you gotta understand that your window for getting the calories that you need, the protein that you need, is gonna be very, very slim.
Right.
So
Yep.
do you want to eat all those calories like during that time? Like
Right.
I think the intermittent fasting window, I mean, you're not eating for like what 12 hours or something like that. I
No,
mean,
it's
I
more
don't
than
really know.
that.
Yeah,
16.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you got 8 hours.
Right. That's it. Yep.
I eat 6 times a day.
Right. Yeah, you ain't
You
gonna do
know,
that in 8 hours.
that's spaced 2.5, 3 hours apart.
Right.
So
Yep.
you're not doing that in 8 hours. And if
Nah.
you got to eat 3,000, 1,300 calories in 8 hours,
Yeah.
that's a lot. That's a lot. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think for some people and for some goals, it makes sense. Like I said, just like keto or other dietary practices, make sense. But it just how does it fit into your goal? Most people look at intermittent fasting like I reduce the window that I can eat. I don't eat as much. I lose weight. That could be true. That could be true, but I guarantee they're not looking at how much they eat in that 8 hour span, and they can still overeat in that eight
Yep.
hour span based
Yep.
upon their activity levels. If you have a true sedentary lifestyle and you going and man, it was a guy I worked out. Well, he went to the gym that I used to go to, and he was like, "Yeah, man, I do intermittent fasting. In those little 8 hours, I have like a couple Whoppers, a couple burgers, whatever else." When he talking about I'm still gaining weight, I'm like, man, you don't even know what. Like, of course, you're like, of course you're gonna gain weight. And then he can't even give you the detail on like what you eating or whatever. So I'm like I said, as long as it aligns to your goal, and you understand what you're doing, anything can make sense. Anything can make sense, but it just has to align to your goal.
Hmm.
I appreciate you, my brother. And on that, we gonna jump into the landing.
Yeah.
IFBB,
IFBB.
yeah, International Federation of Bodybuilding.
Okay.
Damn.
Man, he still ain't shit.
That's, I know. That sound like the feds.
Shut up.
All right, we better just jump back in.
This nigga part of the federales. He a federale. That's what they say. Why federale?
Well,
With
now
the
I'm
box.
trying to get on you now.
I'm about to get on that box. Chill out.
Damn.
Still see it.
All right, we about to jump back into it. Welcome back, Chemtrails family. Unfortunately, we reached the end and we're at the landing. Like I said, we got a special guest today. my brother Micah. He dropped some gems. I hope you guys was paying attention and was listening, and hopefully can utilize what he was saying, to effectively either get lean or get gains, in the gym. Because I know a lot of our listeners is probably wondering, how can they, get to a certain level in weightlifting or whatever. But Mo, Chris, what you got for the closing there, brother, for the landing?
Man, I just want to say thank you, Micah, for coming on the show and letting us, enlightening us on bodybuilding. Because I too was like, yo, these dudes got on draws, man. They on, most of
Yeah,
the draws, like okay, but I mean, I do love the sport though. I can't say I don't like it. I watch Ronnie Coleman, even Arnold Schwarzenegger, all these people. I understand why they are great and stuff like that. So, and but like I said, man, I just appreciate it, man. Also, you got like any quick references, like books or videos that we can give our audience to people that's like want to do like an intro to bodybuilding or anything like that?
I may have to just shoot you some links. There
Yeah,
are
yeah, you
some
can just
good.
shoot us the links or something.
There's some good. So everything I do is kind of science based. I guess that's probably the engineering me. So you got a lot of people that do the bro science stuff, and they just go in there and they
Hmm.
say this is what worked, this is what's worked, but the science in it tells you, kind of gives you that rational way of looking at everything, to make sure that you're progressing or evaluating everything in kind of an objective way. And so like John Meadows. John Meadows is a old dude. He's an older guy, but I mean his stuff is it's pretty scientific based. He has IG and YouTube. I think it's Mountain Dog One, something like that. But you type in his name, John Meadows. He's
Yeah.
good. Mike Israel. Yeah, he's a PhD. Everything is scientific based, and I forgot like the company he works with. I think it's Renaissance Periodization, and like man, they have templates for everything. Like they have templates for if you're trying to get stronger, if you're trying to build muscle, if you want to understand macros, like everything, man.
Yeah.
I use that. He's probably my primary source, and I mean you can look on his YouTube page, on the Renaissance Periodization YouTube page, and on their Instagram, and like just having that information, just using his IG will give you some type of benefit. And there's some other ones out there, but I can't really remember them right now. But I can shoot you. And then mine, of course. Like, what do you mean?
Man.
No, I was playing. But I mean, a lot of information that I post and repost is from those guys. Especially Mike and some of the dudes some of the guys that he's acquaintances with, and that and his company that he represents as well. And like I said, I mean, if you're looking for like a lot of it is scientific, but I think everybody should be armed with understanding what and why they're doing it. So those are some, like, between him and John Meadows, those are some good guys to break down everything from the diet to the training to the recovery. So yeah.
What you got there, Trader Dre?
I just want to ask, man, if our listeners wanted to reach out to you, man, how would they go about finding you?
You hit me on my IG, Micah Thomas Jr. And actually, I mean, I don't mind answering questions or whatever. I'm not gonna put a program together, but I can I can tell you the resources. I can tell you if it's a good person, if it's good information or whatever. And then for like just certain questions, I can definitely answer and respond. Like I'm not. I mean, I'm not a celebrity or anything, so I'm not pushing anybody aside. And I'm a proponent on physical, mental and spiritual health. So yeah, I'm available.
Damn, bro, you ain't verified? Damn, man, we gotta kick him out the show. He ain't even verified. Damn, I thought he was
Damn.
verified, man.
Damn.
I'm
Damn.
Now Mo
verified.
just trying to fight back.
I'm verified within the people that know me. That's all that matters.
Like, barely. Nah,
Hey, how many first place trophies you got?
But
About
I'm not
two?
sure, man. Nah, one, two, three, four, five, six. I think six. I mean, but I didn't do that many. I didn't do that many amateur shows really
Oh, so
before I
you
went
saying if
pro.
you would have done more, then you probably have more first place trophies. Is basically what
I,
you saying.
I mean, potentially, like I was one of the very few people that went pro, like their first national show. So
Here we
within
go.
IFBB, like it's just not it's not common. I had to
Yeah.
have to compete for only a year. So I
All
did some.
right, man. That's you.
I did
I
some.
just asked
I'm
one
not
simple
tooting my own.
question, bro.
I'm not tooting my own.
Yeah.
But then
Okay. All right. Yeah, I appreciate you.
you try to downplay it, man. You know. Shoot, man. I'm verified like Motrice Box. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
man. Oh man,
Oh,
I'm
you
gonna go
see
ahead.
it? There it is.
I know, right?
I delete that much on the audio.
Nah, I'm
Yeah.
keep it in there.
It ain't. But nah, man. Man, bro. It's like before Micah got on the podcast, we talked a little bit. I actually called him when all this stuff was going on. It's a lot of stuff going on in the world. And I figured I'd reach out to some people I ain't talked to in a long time and just kind of see how they doing, because it's easy to text somebody, but it's different when you call them. So I'm kind of old school. But man, like I said, man, I appreciate you, my brother Michael, for getting on, man. We had a lot of history, man. Like I said, from the get-go, I knew it was something special about you. Like I said, probably one of the smartest people I've ever known. Very competitive, like you said, you either doing it all the way or you not, and we share that in common. And I figure like that's why I kind of gravitated to you, as well as being light skinned, because we always getting hated on by our peers. So what I'm saying, we gotta stick together.
All day, man.
Yeah, you know what I'm
Oh
saying? Light skin
man.
connect, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to light skin brothers. We still in
All day, man.
it.
Oh
But no,
man.
Oh
appreciate you,
man.
man. But like I said, I like me and Mo Chris, we've seen you like grow from being, like Micah at PV at what, like probably 200, 205 to now you just
Not even that.
you was less than
Like,
that,
yeah, PV, man.
like
I was
190.
like, not like 185,
Man, you was
185.
you was 185.
Yeah, I was
Damn,
185, and then
I
when
believe
I
that because I was
graduated,
about 185.
yeah, I was 185. I mean, there were times where I bumped it up a little bit, but I think like just my living weight for majority of, I mean, I say from 18 until probably 4 years ago, so 30, 31, 32 was like 180, average like 180, 185,
that's
and
crazy.
sitting at 230 right now.
That's
So,
crazy. But that
and
just
like,
shows, and that's why I say that's why a reason why I gravitate to you, because that just shows your determination and your willpower. When you see something, you want it. You know what I'm saying? You dedicating your time to it. You actually doing the research, you studying, because most of the time, guys just hire a personal trainer or something. Like, hey man, I don't want to know none of that. Just tell me what I need
Mm-hmm.
to do so I can get big. But you actually want to know the logic behind it, the history behind it. And that's like I said, man. So I appreciate you for that. And I appreciate you for dropping them gems for our listeners. Cause like I said, I got a lot of buddies that reached out to me. And like I don't, what I'm saying, I'm nowhere on your level, but I know a little bit. But I told them that I was gonna be doing this podcast. And so I feel like we're gonna reach a lot of our listeners that's actually active, that benefit from listening to you, man. And
that's
I
what's
just
up.
I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate the love. Like I said, it's always love. I know we throw jabs and stuff all the time. But I mean, I consider you a brother, you know what I'm saying? So
Yes, sir.
yeah, man. I
Same here,
feel like,
man.
yep.
And I appreciate y'all for having me on and letting me communicate my message, and like I said, and hopefully I can be a resource, whether it be podcasts or just people, reaching out. One of the things that I don't like you said, people go out and they don't want to learn, they don't understand for themselves, so they get a trainer.
Right.
I look at trainers like teachers. Like you should be better and more knowledgeable when you leave them, right? I mean that's how
Correct.
they are. So if you got somebody that is routinely taking your money and you don't know, you're not growing like with them, like whether it
Yeah.
be knowledge or whatever, you're just giving your money away. Like it's tough to hold people accountable when you don't understand what it is that they're supposed to be doing.
Right.
So like I always tell people, I'm like, yeah, it's cool for you to hire a trainer to learn and to understand, but eventually, like that's a lifestyle. So you need to know exactly what you're getting out of it, so you can know what you need to put into it to maintain this. If you're paying somebody $300, $400 a month, I mean, I understand that it's their career, but they should have people coming in based on referrals.
Right.
Like, so my turnaround is like, hey, it's gonna take me 3 months to get you where you need to be, and from there on, like every now and then the goal changes and you can come back. But if this is a lifestyle thing, I should be able to get you where you need to be in a semester. If I'm a
Right.
teacher,
Yeah.
and they should be equipping you with the things that you need to be, to be successful. If they're a teacher, you need to hold them accountable for that. So, like, that's one of the things that I pressure people on. Like, well, I'm just gonna get a trainer, get a trainer. I'm like, yeah, but you don't want to pay a trainer for the rest of your life. That's a lot of money. Like,
Yeah.
that's a lot of money, and you may not have the desire, or the time to go out and learn, but at least make sure that you're getting somebody that you trust, that has a good rapport, that is going to put you in a place to where you can succeed without them, but you can use them as a reference. Like, their time isn't free, I understand that, but you shouldn't be pigeonholed to using them anytime you want to, I want to gain a pound. What do I need to do? Like, put my meal plan together, put me a
Right.
workout together. Like, nah,
Right.
you need to know exactly what's going on. So when things aren't happening like they're supposed to, you can hold them accountable. So
Gyms.
Yep. And on that note, we out.
We out.
Yeah.
Peace. Hey Chemtrail listeners, want to leave a message? Just click the link in our show notes to leave a voicemail. And if you come from a simpler times like myself, just call, leave us a voice message at 832-308-0529. And don't forget, all messages can record up to 3 minutes long.
What up, what up? It's your boy AP. Make sure you follow us at Chemtrails Podcast, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Hit us up. Once again, that's Chemtrails Podcast at Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Peace out.
Get your voice heard at www.chemtrails.mn.co. Join the community.
All right, man. I mean, good. You just taking a sip.
y'all pulled up, huh?
Yeah, man. Nah, you drink. Why you just stay drinking water, bro. You good? We
I
comfortable.
can't get too drunk, just a little sip, but I get to slurring my words.
You there, brother?
Slithering snake.
Fuck
Slippery,
you, dog. I'm
slithering
trying to start,
snake.
man. You fucking me up, man.
That's I gotta do my little exercises because I got a little speech impediment. Slippery, slithering snake. Slippery,
Mo,
slithering
Chris, you
snake.
just nobody need
Oh.
ammunition, man. You just be throwing
Slippery.
it out there,
Hell
don't you?
yeah,
Alright.
man. He ain't changed a bit. He was doing that
I'm
shit in
good.
college, man.
Slippery, slithering snake.
All right, let's get it started, y'all.